Alright, good afternoon. So this is your module 3.2 about pigments and colorants in food. So this is already part 2. So our week duration is for week number 8 and it's from November 23 to December 4. And today is December 1. So hopefully you will be able to read in advance about this lesson. So let's start. So these are your learning outcomes and target objectives. So don't worry because this is already uploaded in our Google Classroom. Okay. So as discussed in module 3.1, so we already have the part 1 of 2 content, which is the introduction. We have the pigments in animal and plant tissues, which is the heme compounds for animals. We have cured meat pigments. So dito yung may mga nitrogen, no? And nitrates. And then we have chlorophyll, green pigment. And we also have the technology in color preservation for the green pigment. So now in this module 3.2, we will be discussing about part 2 of 2 content, which is the pigments in plant tissue pa rin. However, meron tayong carotenoids and other flavonoids and other phenols, no? So let's start. So just a review. Again, color refers to human perception of colored materials. And then we have pigments, which is natural substances in cells and tissues of plants and animals that impart color. And then colorant is any chemical, may it be natural or synthetic, that imparts color. So these are natural pigments or substances synthesized but identical to the natural pigment. And we also have the dyes, which is any substance that lend color to materials. Usually, this term is used in textile industry, but certain substances are food grade. So, ang pag-uusapan natin are the ones that are food grade. So, we have certified colors and also the lakes, which this will be discussed on the next module pa, no? Okay. So, eto din. So, let's move on with carotenoids. So, this is the continuation, no, for the pigments that you will find sa plants. So, carotenoids itself are the nature's most widespread pigments. It is higher in plants, and carotenoids in chloroplast are often masked by the more dominant chlorophyll pigments. So, ibig sabihin nito, there are all green leafy vegetables contain carotenoids. However, the color is masked by green chlorophyll. So, even the green leafy vegetables, meron din silang carotenoids. And animals derive carotenoid pigments by consumption. So, kung kumakain sila ng carotenoid-containing plant materials. Okay, so this is the next is not applicable sa country natin kasi wala naman tayong season ng autumn, no? But in autumn season, the chloroplast decompose in senescence, and then therefore we have the yellow-orange color of the carotenoids becomes more evident. So dito, largest concentrations of carotenoids exist in tissues with largest amount of chlorophyll pigments. So, mataas din ang concentration ng carotenoids even with the ones other plants with largest amount of chlorophyll such as spinach, kale, peas, green beans, and asparagus. We all know these are all green, di ba? Okay, ano bang role ng ating carotenoids? First, ang carotenoids natin are secondary pigments harvesting light energy. So, yung primary pigment natin which harvest the light energy is chlorophyll, which was discussed last module. And it also has the photoprotection, which means the ability to quench and inactivate reactive oxygen species. Okay? And itong carotenoids natin that are present in roots and leaves, they are precursor to ascorbic acid, which we know that ascorbic acid function as chemical messenger and growth regulator. So, in diet of humans and other animals, precursor ang ating carotenoid to vitamin A. So, ito yung carotenoids that are commonly found in plants. We have the beta-carotene. So, ang beta-carotene natin is has the greatest pro-vitamin A activity. We have beta-kryptosantin. We have alpha-carotene, lutein, zeaxanthin, neoxanthin, capsanthin, violaxanthin, bixin, astaxanthin, ovoverdin, and so on. So, marami pang ibang classifications, pero yan yung parang mga common ones that we see in plants. So, yung provitamin A of carotenoids, so, is the form of vitamin A found in fruits and vegetables. So, every time that I will mention provitamin A, just know na yan yung form of vitamin A na makikita nyo sa fruits and vegetables. It basically provides 30 to 100% of the vitamin requirement. So, ang laki niya, no? Okay, so when we talk about structures of carotenoids, there are basically two structural groups. We have the hydrocarbon carotenes. So, meaning to say, pag hydrocarbon, we have hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, carbon. So, ganun yung itsura niya, no? And, of course, the oxygenated xanthophylls. So, pag oxygenated, there is a presence of oxygen. So, there are about 560 carotenoid structures that have been identified. So, ang dami niya, with a variety of derivatives. There are many more configurations formed with the presence of geometric isomers. So, pag meron tayong cis configuration and trans configuration, if you forgot about the structure of cis and trans, might as well look for it in the internet, no? Kasi supposedly by now, alam nyo na talaga kung ano yung cis and transformation kasi it was discussed long time ago when you were still on organic chemistry. Okay. So, usually, ang ating carotenoids are made up of 40 carbons. So, nakalagay dyan, C40. Okay, let's look at some of the structures here. Medyo blurred lang, but I hope you can print this out, yung ating module. Sayang kasi yung effort, no? Okay, so we have this beta-carotene, a basic structure. So, kung kita nyo naman na nun, sabi kanina, hydrocarbon, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, carbon. So, ganyan yung itsura niya. And then, we only have cyclic structure here. No? So, ayan. Tsaka kung mapapansin nyo, no, yung carbon natin dito, tingnan natin if we can zoom this out. Okay, halos lahat yan is C40. If you zoom in dyan, lahat yan ay C40, made up of 40 carbons. Okay, and then the other derivatives ng ating carotenoids are, nag-iiba lang sila talaga dun sa substituents nila. No? So, kung mapapansin nyo, naiiba lang siya dito. And yung configurations niya, if we look here, meron tayo ditong oxygen and hydrogen, hydroxide na attachments. So, yan, no? Naiiba lang sila dyan. Okay. Okay, so we have table 1 here, which are the carotenoids commonly found in plants. So, first, we have beta-carotene. It is the most common carotenoid found in plant tissues. It is used as a colorant in foods. May it be natural or synthetic. So, ginagamit ang beta-carotene. So, it is present, for example. So, marami pang iba, no? You can look up in the internet as well. But these are just some of the common examples, such as carrots and sweet potatoes. And then, we have alpha-carotene. So, ang pinagkaiba lang nito is the attachment ng placement ng ating substituent. So, titingnan natin ulit sa taas. Okay, alpha-carotene. Ito yung ano niya. And this is the beta-carotene. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung double bond lang dun sa cycle niya, cyclic na attachment. So, dun lang nagkaiba, no? Okay. So, this is the beta-carotene, no? Meron siyang beta-alanine ring. So, dito naman, alpha-alanine. Bakit? Kasi yung double bond natin, nandito sa may taas. However, dito sa beta-carotene, nasa side yung kanyang double bond. So, imagine just the change in structure can change everything then. Kaya, ang laking tulong talaga ng chemistry when it comes to food industry. Okay, so, again, alpha-carotene is also present in carrots. Okay, next we have beta-Kryptosantin. It's a hydroxylated derivative of beta-carotene. When we say hydroxylated, if you look at the structure above, meron lang siyang hydroxide na attachment. So, hydroxylated. Or it's either meron siyang hydroxide na attachment or hydrogen was removed from one of the structures. And then we have lutein. So, number 4, it's a diol of alpha-carotene. So, dito yellow naman siya. Present in marigold petals. So, marigold petals are actually yellow. It's also present in green leaves and also in corn. Okay. Number 5, we have JSSerrano. Kung meron tayong diol of alpha-carotene, meron din tayong diol of beta-carotene. So, same lang siya. Yellow din siya. It is present in corn and saffron. Number 6, we have neosantin. Sorry, medyo mataas pala. Okay, number 6, we have neosantin. So, dito, triol naman siya, and its color is yellow, and it's present in yellow-green leaves. Okay, next is number 7, capsantin. So, it gives off the red pigment which is found in paprika or red peppers. So, di ba nga ang scientific name actually ng red peppers are capsaicin, di ba? So, parang capsantin naman yung kanyang pigment. So, number 8 is violasantin. So, it gives off a yellow pigment, also present in leaves. So, you don't need to memorize all these carotenoids. Pero, ang important kasi dito are the ones that are very common to find, which is beta-carotene nga, tulad ng alpha-carotene, zeaxanthin, capsantin, no? Bixin is also red pigment naman to, if I'm not mistaken. Red pigment. So, it is found in anathocyds, yun nakakapagpapula, no? And then, we have astaxanthin, pink color in animals due to ingestion of carotenoid-containing materials. So, sa astaxanthin, no, it's only activated due to heating reactions. So, nagkakaroon ng alteration ng spectroscopic and visual properties of the pigment due to heat reactions. It's usually bound in proteins and changes the color from blue to red in heat. So, dito sa astaxanthin, you will notice if you cook shrimp or lobster or yung exoskeleton, which is the outer skeleton of the shrimp, nagche-change siya, diba, from blue or parang gray. Once there is a reaction in heat, there is a change in color. Nagiging orange siya. So, it's also present in carotenoid-containing animals, pink color animals, such as salmon. Okay, and then we have, number 11 is ovoverdin. So, ovoverdin, it's a green pigment. Actually, makikita nyo siya sa mga itlog ng, not just in lobster, but also sa, halimbawa, sa crabs, no? Actually, crabs din pala kasama dito sa taas, sa astaxanthin. So, lagay natin yung crabs here. And yung ovoverdin is usually sa eggs ng ating mga seafood. Yun yung pigment niya. We also have glycoside for number 12. It's a unique carotenoid structure found in bacteria and other microorganisms. We have lycopene, pinakang common, pinakang alam nyong lahat, because it gives off the yellow, orange to red pigment in fruit and vegetables such as tomatoes. Lycopene. Okay, so yung concentration natin of carotenoid in plant, it changes due to different factors. So, first one, we have the ripening. It may bring about dramatic changes in carotenoids, no? Depende sa maturation ng plant. So, concentrations differ depending on the stage of plant maturity. What else? Yung light natin, presence of light, it stimulates the biosynthesis of carotenoids. Thus, yung light exposure, it affects concentration even in post-harvest. So, di ba kung mapapansin nyo, ang kamatis, it changes color from green, nagiging orange, or green, nagiging yellow, nagiging orange until it's ripe. If it's overripe, nagiging red na. So, other factors with the concentrations, of course, the growing climate. So, may mga studies that says na depende sa klima kung anong magiging color or pigment ng ating plants. Presence ng pesticide, paggamit ng pesticide or use of fertilizer, even the soil type. Okay? When it comes to analysis, extraction and analysis of carotenoid, meron tayong tinatawag na chromatographic procedures such as HPLC. Actually, HPLC is halos sa lahat ng chemical extraction, ginagamit ang HPLC, which is a high-performance liquid chromatography to separate carotenoids or maybe chlorophyll and other pigments. Even sa vitamins and minerals, ginagamit din ang HPLC. Huh? So, remember yung analysis na ginagamit, no? HPLC, High Performance Liquid Chromatography. Okay, so tignan naman natin yung reaction of carotenoids with oxidation. With oxidation, carotenoids are easily oxidized kasi mataas yung number ng double bonds niya. So, anong kinalaman ng double bonds, no? Every time there is a structure of double bonds, mas gusto kasi ng isang structure na single bonds lang lahat. So, nangyayari pag may double bonds, mas sensitive siya sa reaction from the outside because of the electron that is present in the element, no, in the atom. So, yung oxidation natin, it can cause color losses in foods. Ang stability ng pigment due to oxidation is highly dependent to its environment. And physical damage to tissue or extraction of the carotenoids increases their susceptibility to oxidation. Ibig sabihin, pag nagkaroon ng physical damage or nagkaroon ng extraction, any exposure to oxygen, there may be a loss of color. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na anti-oxidative activity. So, we know that carotenoids are known to quench singlet oxygen. So, meron tayong anti-oxidative activity, meaning pinipigilan niya yung pagkakaroon ng oxidation reaction. Meron ng proposed na studies, no, that there is a antioxidant function of carotenoids play a role in limiting cancer, cataracts, atherosclerosis, and process of aging. So, according to Canfield in 1993. Okay, so now we have stability during processing ng food. So, when we say food processing, no, ito yung lahat na ng mga ginagawa natin sa post-process. So, from the food flow, ang carotenoids natin are relatively stable during typical storage and handling of most fruits and vegetables. During freezing, there may be a little change. During blanching, there may be increase in carotenoid content due to relative raw tissues. Ibig sabihin, nag-i-increase, possible, pag nag-blanching ka kasi, diba, if you notice, mas nag-i-increase yung color, mas tumitingkad. Why? Because yung lipoxygenase niya, which is the one responsible for the oxygenation ng ating products or ng plant natin, na inactivate. So, nangyayari, mas nag-i-increase na yung carotenoids. Okay? When exposed to high temperature, nagkakaroon ng thermal degradation and yung beta-carotene natin is oxidized. In air dehydration, no? So, syempre, pag nagde-dehydrate ka, there is a exposure of carotenoids to oxygen. So, dito, nagkakaroon ng extensive degradation of carotenoids. And dehydrated products have a large surface-to-mass ratio. And they are more susceptible to oxidative decomposition during drying and storage. And then, last discussion about processing is the canning. So, sa canning kasi, usually, yung ginagamit dyan mga vegetables and fruits which are high in carotenoids. Ang nangyayari, there is a creation of a cis isomer. So, again, pag cis nga, diba, tignan nyo yung anong itsura ng cis from a trans. Yung difference ng dalawa. So, that will be your assignment. So, color of the product is mostly unaffected when it comes to canning. However, there is a decrease in provitamin A activity. No? So, wala mang effect masyado with the color. However, yung vitamin A content decreases. Okay, so that's it for carotenoids. Now, we move on to flavonoids. Flavonoids are actually quite complicated in a sense na ang dami niya, no? It's a large group of substances. So, sabi nga dito, it's a phenolic compounds comprised of large group of substances and subgroup pa lang. Subgroup ang flavonoids sa phenols. Okay? And from flavonoids, meron pa tayong subgroup which are isa doon yung anthocyanins. So, dito sa anthocyanins, so kung meron tayong the ones that give red-orange pigment or yellow-orange-red pigments, anthocyanins are the ones that gives out the blue pigment. No? So, it is derived from the two Greek words, which is anthos, means flower, and kyanos, which means blue, or blue flower, ang anthocyanins. It is studied by two notable Nobel Prizes in chemistry, which are Sir Robert Robinson and Professor Richard Willstatter. So, itong anthocyanins, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a subgroup under flavonoids. It is responsible for a wide range of colors such as blue, purple, violet, magenta, and even red and orange. But more on, ang anthocyanins natin, they're responsible for the blue, purple color. Okay, so they are considered flavonoids. Why? Because of their characteristics such as C6, C3, and C6 carbon skeleton. So if we look here, C6, so yan yung C6. And then we have C3 and then another C6 here. Okay, so C6 is from this cyclic structure. We have 6 carbons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then sa gitna, meron tayong another 3. 1, 2, 3. And then another 6 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so color pigments differ depending on the substituents on rings A and B. So, once mag-iba lang yung substituent, when we say substituent, yun yung attachment, no, from any of these carbons, nag-iiba daw yung color. So, the color of anthocyanins and anthocyanidins result from excitation of molecule by visible light. So, if there is a presence of double bonds, essential siya for color. Without the double bonds, maybe baka mabago yung color niya, no? Okay, the more substitution there is, the deeper the blue there is in the structure. So, kung makikita nyo dito, wala pa siyang substituent eh. Pero, once nagkaroon niya ng substituent, let's just say, meron ditong 5 substituents, the deeper the blue. Kasi mas madaming substituent, mas matingkad yung pagka-blue ng pigment. Okay, so we have this term called, I'll highlight this one. Okay, we have this term called hypsochromic shift. Ito yung color ng from blue to red na shift. Okay? So, there are more than 250 different anthocyanins that have been identified in the plant world. Imagine, napakadami talaga ng pigments, no? The content varies among plants, so you don't need to know this, no? Okay, so here we have another structures. Okay, we have the X and Y axis here. Okay. Sorry. Okay, we have the X and Y. So, ito yung X-axis, Y-axis. So, dito is increasing blueness. So, the more na papunta dito, yung mga nandito, mas blue yung pigment niya compared to these ones that are mas red yung pigments. Dito kasi increasing redness. So, ito yung mga common na anthocyanins, no? Hindi ko na isa-isahin. Okay, let's look at the color and stability ng ating anthocyanins. So, anthocyanin pigments, they are relatively unstable. Okay? Compared with carotenoids, ang carotenoids natin, stable siya unless it's exposed to oxygenation or oxygen, no? So, greatest stability naman ng anthocyanins natin are under the acidic conditions, which is yung pH ng acids natin are from 0 to 6.9, no? Yan. Okay, so yung degradation niya occurs not only during extraction from plant tissue, but also during processing and storage of food tissues. Just like carotenoids and other pigments, nagche-change based sa processing. So, these are the major factors governing degradation ng color or pigment. We have the pH, temperature, and oxygen concentration, of course. And yung mga less important in degradation is the presence of enzymes or the ascorbic acid, sulfur dioxide, metal ions, and even sugar. So, hindi ganun ka-importante ito, no, sa degradation rate nila. So, examples. Sa grape juice, no? So, ito yung some of my readings na mga nakita online, no? So, it has been known that when grape juice is hot filled into bottles, so complete filling of the bottles will delay degradation of the color from purple to dull brown. So, kaya minsan ang grape juice natin is pinapalamig muna siya bago siya i-transfer sa kanilang bottles kasi hindi makukumpleto, lalo na pag large production, nagkakaroon ng change of color na nagiging purple to brown daw. And anthocyanin pigment fruit juices, yung removal daw ng oxygen have a positive effect on retention of anthocyanin. So, ang ginagawa to under vacuum or addition of nitrogen. So, yan, no? Ayan, kasi nga, especially sensitive talaga sa oxygen ang mga pigments natin. Yung pears natin, peaches and lychees, nagkakaroon ng fruit discoloration problem referred to as pinking when there is a formation of metal anthocyanin complexes, no? So, meron tayong pinking na nangyayaring discoloration. We also have this, I don't know how to read this, pero maraschino. Ito yung mga candied or glazed na cherries, so coated with sugar. And meron silang bleaching ng anthocyanins na gumagamit ng sulfur dioxide at high concentrations. So, imagine ang concentration ng sulfur dioxide ay around 0.8 to 1.5%. Yung bleaching effect niya, it could be reversible or irreversible. Okay? We also have the process called desulfuring. When we say desulfuring, ito ay nagkakaroon ng thorough washing kung saan there is a color restoration when fruit loses its color. So, tandaan nyo tong desulfuring na term, ha? So, meron tayong large rate. Constant means that a small amount of sulfur dioxide, large amount of sulfur dioxide can quickly decolorize a significant amount of anthocyanins. So, marami ring anthocyanins that are resistant to sulfur dioxide. Thus, bleaching can either have a C4 position blocked or exits as dimers link through their 4 position. Ibig sabihin dun sa carbon number 4, no? So, yan. What else? We have sour cherries. So, sabi, before freezing, yung anthocyanin destroying enzymes niya can be inactivated by short blanch treatment. So, nakakatulong daw yung blanch treatment. Ibig sabihin, at 90 to 100 degrees Celsius, you blanch the plant or fruit for 45 to 60 seconds before you freeze it. Okay, so ano bang importance ng flavonoids sa food, no? Or ito yung mga ibang flavonoids. So meron din tayong non-anthocyanin flavonoids. Ito yung mga nagbibigay ng white color, no? So, non-anthocyanin. So, we have the anthocyanins which are leaning towards blue pigment, and we have the non-anthocyanin which are the ones that are responsible for the whiteness of vegetables such as cauliflower, onion, potato. No? So, kasama pa rin sila sa flavonoids. Meron din tayong tinatawag na rutin rutin, it causes a greenish-black discoloration, especially sa mga canned vegetables such as asparagus. Once there is reaction with a ferric state ion, so di ba ang cans natin meron siya talagang iron. So ang addition ng chelator, chelator is a substance para lang ma-inhibit yung discoloration. So, one of it is called ethylene diamine tetraacidic acid. Again, EDTA stands for ethylene diamine tetraacidic acid. So, isa siya yung mga nag-i-inhibit, pinipigilan niya or stops the undesirable color. We also have tannins. So, tannins, alam ko naririnig nyo na to, pero hindi siya masyado na-discussed. So, they are also part ng phenols natin, but it has the ability of combining with proteins, and other polymers, such as polysaccharides, na nagko-contribute sa astringency. When we say astringency, parang akala mo bitterness, yung sa taste ng pagkain. So, for example, usually, yung bitterness ng tannins, it contributes to tea, to wine, to beer. Yan yung mga beverage na yan. So, when there is, paano nangyayari yon? When catechins are converted during fermentation, yung ability niya to precipitate proteins makes it valuable as clarifying agent. So, hindi lang siya nagpo-promote ng astringency or nagbibigay ng bitterness sa mga wine, beer, and other beverages. It's also a clarifying agent. Okay, and then lastly, we have kenoids and xanthones. So, kenoids and xanthones are still part of the phenolic compounds, So, kenones, they are phenolic compounds varying in molecular weight. So, ito ay distributed mostly in trees and they contribute to the color of wood. Usually, they are bitter in taste and contribute to some of the darker colors, to yellow, to oranges and browns of certain fungi and lichens. What else? It contributes to the reds, blues, and purples of sea lilies and insects then. Okay, we also have the last part of the module, which is betalains. So, again, yung kenones natin, ito yung sa mga darker pigments. And then, betalains, they are almost similar to anthocyanins. But we have beta-cyanins which contributes to the red pigment and beta-xanthin contributes to the yellow pigment. So dito, color is not affected by pH compared with anthocyanins. They are also water-soluble. And presence of betalains in plants is mutually exclusive of the occurrence of anthocyanins or when the ayan. So, pag meron tayong anthocyanins, there's also betalains, But, perhaps in lower concentrations. It absorbs light strongly and yung kanyang stability is almost the same as the anthocyanins kasi stable din sila sa acidic conditions, specifically dito with a pH range of 4 to 5. Okay? So, that's it for our Module 3.2. So, meron pa tayong isang module, yung Module 4, or I'm not sure if I will make it Module 4 or Module 3.3. So, dun naman yung mga synthetic na dyes and lakes na pag-uusapan natin na pigments, So, you will have an activity here, which is due on Friday, but I will post it on Google Classroom perhaps tomorrow or Thursday. So, again, you already have the copy of this on Google Classroom. So, ito yung ating mga references. no? Again, if you have any questions, you can always message me, and I will try my best to answer it, no? Okay, if not, I will end this module, and thank you for listening.